Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Successful with Schizophrenia. I'm your host, Hayali, and I'm excited for this week's episode. So, what is on today's agenda? Self improvement. For this week, we'll be using the quote, "Success is getting better every day." So, we're going to break this down. Let's start with getting better. What does better even mean? Some people might answer with the list that you see below or to the right. Let's say well rested. A lot of people want to get a full night's rest of sleep, or maybe they take naps if they're feeling tired. And then other people might say, "Oh, I feel lazy because I'm sleeping too much, or I'm sleeping throughout the day when I should only be sleeping at night." It's about perspective. Some people would want to feel calm throughout the day, and other people might associate calm with being bored and not having anything to do. Some people want to feel happier. In fact, lots of people want to feel happier, but happy isn't always ideal. And we've mentioned it before. Sometimes happy wouldn't be a very useful feeling. For example, if we needed to feel fear or excitement or disgust, anything like that, and we could only feel happy, it wouldn't be the most useful feeling. Plus, if we're happy all the time, we probably aren't being very observant of our surroundings. We're probably not being very observant about how we're acting. We're just overwhelmed with joy. And sometimes when we're too happy, we might not be completely aware of everything around us. And we'll talk about that more later in different episodes. More knowledgeable, perhaps that would be better. Maybe knowing yourself better, maybe knowing what happens at work or in school better, having a better awareness of that would be probably what other people would consider better. Or maybe financially responsible. Sometimes people want to go out with their friends, let's say to the mall or out to dinner, and that would involve spending money. And if they're not feeling well, they might want to stay in. Now, a person could look upon that and say, "Oh, I'm not feeling well. I'm feeling worse. I'm going to stay home." And they can change that perspective and say, "I am being financially responsible because I am saving my money and I'm not spending it on dinner with my friends. Instead, I'm going to spend that money on cleaning supplies, something that would be more beneficial if you needed those cleaning supplies," just for an example. And last, we have more self-awareness. And that's what I believe our quote closely relates to is more self-awareness. And let's get into that. So success is getting better every day. Every day we learn something new, right? We can learn something about our friends, our family members, our work life, our school life, or how about ourselves? That's probably where we can learn the most about. You might want to ask yourself, how would I act in this situation? Would I be calm? Would I be very reactionary? Would I get upset? Would I hold a grudge? Am I proud of this reaction? Maybe it's a yes, maybe it's a no, but I challenge you to think, how can I improve? That's something I always ask myself if I am not exactly happy with the way I thought something through or did or reacted. I always think, how can I improve? How can I make this easier for me the next time I'm in a similar situation? All right, progress is not linear. Here in our little picture, you can see that on one side, success has what people think it looks like. And it's a straight line from the bottom to the top, and there's not much of a challenge here. And on the right hand side, it says what it really looks like. And you can see the line goes up, down, left, right, round and around, some loop de loops, and then it makes it up to the top right hand corner, which is success. It's quite an adventure. Like we had mentioned before, success is a journey. Progress is a journey. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes work, right? And sometimes we're going to feel like we're not making a lot of progress. And other times we're going to feel like we're making all the progress at once. But we just need to persevere. All right, let's talk about some self awareness. I feel like our quote, success is getting better every day, is closely related to self awareness. Let's talk about behavior. It's a little hard to see here. Sorry, I'll make the text bigger next time. But for behaviors, it can have insight to how we're feeling or how we're doing. So, what do I do when I am feeling happy? Right? Maybe I'll be smiling. Maybe it's too big of a smile. Maybe it's overly big, right? And maybe I'm overly confident. That could be a fine line. How do I know the difference? Maybe when I'm feeling excited, I have a jittery leg, or I talk too fast, or I have run on sentences like I do right now. Maybe that's a sign I'm being excited, or maybe that's a sign that I am feeling manic. Or perhaps I could just be feeling sad, or maybe it's more of a sign of a depressive episode is coming on. So, looking at our behavior can give us great insight about how we're feeling. I mentioned the feelings wheel, and I know it might sound a little childish, but it was really helpful for me because sometimes it's hard for me personally, to name what I'm feeling at that moment when I'm in the middle of like an emotion. So it can be a little overwhelming for me, but that feelings wheel or just looking at my behaviors kind of gains some more insight to how I'm feeling or how I'm doing because sometimes I can be a little disconnected. All right, why is self awareness important? Let's talk about our friends and family. So, our friends and family might be a good support system. Maybe they're there to cheer you up. Maybe they are your little cheerleader and they are happy for you and they are very supportive and they're always a call away. And maybe they're a reality check. Maybe if you're asking, did you hear that? Did you see that? Hey, does this make sense? Maybe you can use them as a reality check. I've done that in the past. Sorry for my friends that I bug. Um, but, it could be helpful to rely on them a little bit. Or maybe they're a warning system, right? Maybe they might be letting you know, like, hey, I'm worried about you, or you might want to take it easy. Your friends or family members might be there for you and they might be very helpful for you. But there's a catch. We can't only rely on our friends and family members to tell us when we're doing okay. It's our responsibility to know if we're doing okay. Okay, so I know that I am my own responsibility. No one is going to take better care of me than me. I know I can receive help without being codependent. Just because I accept help once doesn't mean I'm always going to need that help for the rest of my eternity, right? I can get help and it's okay to get help. And getting better or getting worse is about perspective. As soon as I realized that I was getting um, more perspective of like what's worse or better for me, that's when I had a better understanding of how to get better. Uh, about 6 months ago, maybe a year, I was not doing well, but I had the mentality that I was getting better every day. I kept on saying, I'm getting better, I'm getting better, I'm getting better. Even though there was a lot of times where I was not getting better at things. But I had the mentality that I was getting better. And sure enough, 2 months later, I did in fact get better. Now, can you imagine what would happen if at that time where I was going in a downward spiral and I thought to myself, oh, I'm getting worse. I can't stand it. I'm not feeling well. I'm not doing well. I have no idea what to do. I'm hopeless. If I thought all of that, I probably wouldn't have gotten better in 2 months. Probably would have taken a lot longer than that. And 2 months in the grand scheme of things is not a long time. So maybe you find yourself in a downward spiral for a couple hours, couple days, couple weeks, months, years. I just want to let you know that there's an end to that spiral. There is a way out. And I'm here to show you that way out. So you might have been alone before, but not anymore. So why is self-awareness important to you? Okay? Let's think about self-awareness for a moment. Are you a self-aware person? Are you aware of other people's feelings? Are you aware of other people's behaviors? Is there a time where you weren't aware of their thoughts, their behaviors, or their emotions, and it led to an embarrassing moment? You probably thought of a couple, if not a few, moments just now. So we're probably not as self-aware as we think. So that'll be our homework this week. Why is self-awareness important? Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next week.